Not sure what the Pinterest best practices to follow in 2022 are? Do you want to grow your Pinterest business account, but you're unclear about the rules of Pinterest you should be following? I don't blame you. There's so much confusion out there with algorithm changes and best practices changing along with them. With so much bad advice out there, I want to make sure that you know exactly how to pin in 2022. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 9 best practices you need to follow on Pinterest in order to grow your account. So be sure to click that thumbs up button, letting YouTube know you love Pinterest marketing tips. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I love being your Pinterest coach. And a quick shout out to everyone who voted for this video. I hope it helps you to have much success on Pinterest. So let's get started with those best practices. So number 1, you need to claim your domain, your shop, or social. This is one of those things where so many people have forgotten to actually claim a domain, or due to some glitches on Pinterest, your domain was unclaimed. So I want to make sure that you're getting the most out of Pinterest. And in order for your pins to be distributed widely on the platform, you need to claim a domain. So go to your settings and make sure that your website is claimed. If not, be sure to claim your Shopify shop or even your YouTube channel. You need to have a home somewhere off of Pinterest. So whether that's your channel, your blog, your website, or your shop, make sure that you've claimed it. And an extra step for you to take if you do have a shop is to become a verified merchant. This is currently only available in a handful of countries like the US, the UK, Canada. So if you're on those lists of countries and you're running a Shopify, maybe a WooCommerce shop, be sure to get that verified merchant status, which means you're going to have that blue check mark on your profile. There are some rumors out there that once you get verified, your pins are going to take off like never before. Of course, I've got links down below in the video description for all the tips that I'm sharing with you in this video to help you implement. The second Pinterest best practice is to always optimize for Pinterest SEO. That means that your profile is optimized, including your name, your bio, and your banner image. But we're also talking about your Pinterest pins and your boards. You want to make sure that you always find the best long tail keyword for your pins and your boards, and that you're including all of those related keywords as well. So we're talking about your pin titles and your pin descriptions. An important element to this, tacking on to our claiming our domain, is to make sure that you have rich pins. The best and easiest way to do that is to simply add and activate a social sharing plugin on your WordPress site like Social Warfare, and you can easily have all of that rich pin data. So on your site, you're adding in those titles and those descriptions with your keywords so that your pins have a better chance of ranking in Pinterest search results. Because remember, at its core, Pinterest is still a search engine. So if you need help finding keywords, I encourage you to click up here and check out this video where I show you how to find all the best keywords for your Pinterest SEO. And one more important tip for optimizing your pins for SEO is stop using hashtags. Hashtags are dead, they're done, they're not helping your content. They're actually potentially hurting your content. So you want to make sure that instead you're focusing on writing sentences and using keywords to optimize your pins, not hashtags, and definitely not stuffing keywords with dashes and slashes. The third Pinterest best practice is to pin at least one fresh pin per day. So this is the bare minimum. I encourage you to make an effort to always share one fresh pin. So what do I mean by a fresh pin? A fresh pin is a brand new pin that has never been uploaded to Pinterest before. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a new piece of content that you're linking to. It just means that the image or video is new and never seen before on Pinterest. So I encourage you to start creating at least one fresh pin per day. It's important to be consistent on Pinterest because a lack of consistency is what is going to send your account plummeting. If you're wondering, why are my Pinterest views down? Why are my pins not getting clicks? And you have not been consistent, well, here you have it. This is probably the number one reason why your profile is falling off of a cliff right now. So you're probably wondering, can I create more than one? Of course, but you definitely do not need to be pinning 20, 30 or more pins per day. I would say that the safe maximum is 10. There's no reason to be sharing more than 10 fresh pins per day on Pinterest. Even if you have an insane amount of content, it's better to spread that out over time. So if you're going to batch create your pins, you can use a scheduler like Tailwind to spread out those pins over time. And I know you probably have some more questions about the frequency of pinning. Don't worry, I'm going to cover all of that in the upcoming best practices. So remember, one fresh pin per day, maximum 10. There's no reason that you should be pinning more than 10. You don't need to. It's not actually helping. So the fourth Pinterest best practice is to create multiple pins per post and always make sure they are vertical. You want to make sure your pins are the longer images because with 85% of Pinterest users on mobile, those are the images that are going to take up the most amount of real estate when someone is scrolling through search results or scrolling on the home feed. So say, for example, you published a new blog post. Don't just create one pin. Have a few templates that are different. And that's a key point. You want to make sure that all your pins don't look identical because that way you're going to ensure that Pinterest does understand that this actually is a fresh image and not just the same old pin being uploaded again and again with slight tweaks. You want to make sure that your pin templates are actually visually different. So whether you have some light pins, for example, and maybe you have some darker pins, maybe you have some pins that are bright in color, maybe you have some pins that are video pins, maybe you have some pins that are longer in style. So you can create all of these types of pin templates right within a tool like Canva, and then just update them every time you release new content. So I repeat, this Pinterest best practice is to create multiple pins per post. This is going to help you stay consistent on Pinterest because you don't always have to publish new content. So whether that's creating a new product, writing a new blog post, creating a new sales page, just to add a fresh pin to Pinterest. So if you need help with pin design, I encourage you to click down below in the description and you can check out my array of Pinterest courses. I've got mini courses on video pins, idea pins, and on designing pins in general. So you're gonna wanna check that out. There's a promo code added just for you. So the fifth Pinterest best practice is to wait 7 days before sharing the same link again. So if you just published a blog post with a fresh pin, you're going to wait at least 1 week before sharing a new fresh pin linking to that content. You want to space out those links. Sharing the same link over and over is spammy behavior that could end up with your account getting blocked or banned. If you have worries about that, I encourage you to check out this video on how not to get blocked or banned on Pinterest. But you want to make sure that you're sharing a variety of URLs. This is one of the questions I get so frequently. So if you have, say, for example, 10 pieces of content, whether those are YouTube videos, whether they're products, whether they're blog posts, you want to make sure that you're sharing those links. So not just the same one blog post link over and over. So make a list of your content and schedule your pins, cycling through all of your content. And this is so much easier if you're using a scheduler like Tailwind because you can plan ahead. instead of just pinning or scheduling 2 weeks at a time, which you can do using the Pinterest native scheduler on the Pinterest site. So remember, wait 7 days to share the same link again. And of course, always with a fresh pin. So the sixth Pinterest best practice is to don't repin or reshare your pins like at all. Do not save the same pin over and over and over again, whether that pin is your pin or someone else's pin. You want to always save fresh pins. So whether or not that's your piece of content, so say you had a new blog post come out and you designed this beautiful pin, you're going to save that pin to the most relevant board from an SEO perspective. So if you have a new recipe pin, what type of recipe is it? Add it to the board that makes sense. If you have a new product that came out, so maybe that's a new maxi skirt, are you going to add that to your board about skirts? Most likely. So you're going to always categorize your pin by saving it once to the best possible board, then create fresh pins. You should not be saving your pins to group boards over and over and over again. Okay? We don't do that. That's not helping your pin at all. Instead, we want other pinners, other content creators to save our pins to their boards. That's why I encourage and endorse Tailwind Communities as a way to get saves on your pins, because getting saves on your pin is one of those metrics that shows Pinterest that your content is engaging and that they should show it to more Pinterest users. So that's a positive sign. But you should not be the one who's doing the saving. So if you're interested in joining Tailwind Communities, click down below. I've got a link so that you can sign up and join some communities with relevant content creators in your niche. Let them do the repinning and the resharing for you, okay? So the next Pinterest best practice I have for you is to pin at the right time for your audience. So much of the debate about pinning is caught up in, should I manually pin? Should I schedule with Tailwind? But we are asking the wrong questions. It really doesn't matter if you pin in real time, if you use the Pinterest native scheduler, or if you use a tool like Tailwind. What matters is that you're pinning at the right time. So you need to know, when is your audience most engaging with your pins? When should you be pinning? So is that mornings? Is that evenings? Is that late at night? And when we're talking about time, you have to remember time zone. So there's your time zone, and then there's the time zone of your audience. So say, for example, you are in Australia, but your audience is primarily in the USA. So that's Eastern Standard Time, Central Time, Mountain Time, or Pacific Standard Time. So you need to dive deep into your analytics and figure out when is the best time to pin, and prioritize pinning at those times. So instead of pinning, say 10, 15, 20 pins per day at random times, you're going to take your one fresh pin or more and pin those at targeted specific times when your audience is most likely to engage with your content. That is a Pinterest best practice, because if those few pins are getting engagement, Pinterest is more likely to show your pins, as opposed to you pinning so much and absolutely nobody is interested in your content, okay? So if you need help figuring out the best time to pin, check out this video that I've created on finding the best time for you to pin for your audience, because it's gonna be unique to you and unique to your Pinterest profile. So the eighth Pinterest best practice is to prioritize your own pins, not other people's. This goes back to that lie and that rule that people used to share called the 80-20 rule. Nope, we're not listening to that. You need to prioritize your own pins. Pinterest is all about promoting you as the content creator. So if someone comes to your profile, you want to make sure that the most pins that they're seeing are created by you. All those lovely fresh pins and all your different templates and designs, those are the pins that we want to see. You don't want to be using up the little exposure that you have every day. So say, for example, you post a pin, Pinterest is showing that first to your followers. But if you're only showing other people's pins, none of that engagement is actually paying off for you in the end. So it's important to look and dig into your Pinterest analytics. There should not be a huge difference between seeing all your pin impressions and seeing the impressions for your claimed domain. You see how it all connects, or your YouTube channel or your shop. You want to make sure that all of the impressions and engagement is actually going to your site or to your shop or to your social, whichever of those websites you've claimed, if not all, depending how you set up your business. So you want to make sure that any engagement your profile is getting, it's going to you. So the only way you're going to be able to do that is to prioritize your own pins. So I encourage you, 90 to 95% of the pins you're sharing on your profile should be your own, okay? You can resave another person's pin, but only do it once and only put it to the best possible board. And that pin should make sense for your niche. So if you're a financial blogger, or maybe you're focused on millennial content, the pins you're saving to your profile should be about that. If you're using your Pinterest business account for also personal means, that's fine. Just save all those pins to secret boards so that it's not messing up how your profile is being categorized and the pins that your audience is seeing you pin. Remember, you want to stay on brand and you want to stay within your niche. Okay, don't be confusing to your audience. And my ninth and final Pinterest best practice for you is to create seasonal content 60 to 90 days early. So that means if we're talking about content for New Year's Day, you're going to get started 2 to 3 months before that. Do not wait for the last minute. And there are a few important reasons for that. It can take anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks to a few months for your fresh pins to be indexed by Pinterest. That means for your pin to start showing up in search results. So if you're waiting for the last minute, nobody is going to find your content. So you want to ensure that any seasonal content you're creating, and I encourage you to create seasonal content because Pinterest is a seasonal platform. Users are on there searching for holiday recipes, holiday decor, things tied to seasonal celebrations, actual holidays, the physical season, so summer, spring, winter, fall. What someone is looking for is largely dependent on what day it is, what month it is, what season it is, what holidays are coming up, the important milestones in their lives, whether that's anniversaries, birthdays. So you want to make sure you're playing to that, because all evergreen, which I like to call nevergreen content, really the engagement drops out anytime there's a holiday close by. So if you want to grow your account, you need to start playing to the seasons. And most importantly, you need to start getting started early. So if we're looking at trend graphs for any keyword, you want to make sure that you're posting your content before it starts to peak, or even before it starts to rise, so that you take advantage of the entire wave of search and your pins are getting found. So there you have it. Those are the Pinterest best practices to follow in 2022 to continue to grow your account. So if you're looking for more advice on how to implement these Pinterest best practices so you can start getting more traffic, subscribers, and sales with Pinterest, be sure to click down below and sign up for my free Pin Perfect Masterclass, where I break down the top 3 mistakes you're making on Pinterest without even realizing, so that you can start creating content, pins, and a pinning strategy that actually works for you. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because I love being your Pinterest coach. And stick around, you're going to find this video helpful, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.